Furious Driving, proud to be supported by Diamond Bright, protecting, cleaning and caring for the Furious fleet and for yours with 10% off using code FD10. Follow the links in the description below. Hello and welcome to Furious Driving, and this is my beautiful, delicious 2002 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. And as you can see, not only is it lovely and shiny at the moment, it's on the ground on all four wheels. It's got its hubcap wheel trims back on again. It looks like a car. The welding is, apart from one tiny bit, all done. This car is only days away from getting its new MOT. It's virtually a year since we found the rust in the thing, and partly there was a massive amount of rust down the other side and a bit of rust down this side. Mostly I'm a terrible and reluctant welder, and the weather has been awful, so it's taken a year to get this thing sorted out. There's only a few jobs left to do on the car today, so I'll take you through them and I'll show you what I'm doing the last couple of days. But first of all, I'll quickly show you what the last tiny weeny bit of welding left to do is on the car. It's this, a tiny bit of cosmetic trim on the bottom of the front wing slash fender to take it down to the level of the bottom of the door, with a little rebated flange to go behind the rocker sill cover, which will be on these plastic clips later on eventually. So that's literally all I need to now do. Nothing structural, just a little bit of cosmetic. That's all that's left to do. And while we're talking about the region of the sill cover, the rocker cover as it's called in America, the plastic trim, I need to refix these things back underneath the car, because this is what that big plastic trim panel, which sits down here and hides what was going rusty, all goes. On this side of the car, I've had to break the bottom tab of these to, well, obviously cut the metal away and replace it. I could glue and screw these in place, which would probably be as strong as the plastic clip that was there originally in order to refit the outer trim. But on the far side of the car, I had to take them all off because so much metal had to be cut away. So I've been trying to find some new ones of these things, because they're only little plastic trim clips. How hard can that be? Turns out very hard indeed. Ford have discontinued them. Rock Auto and US Automotive can't find them, which are the two big American car parts suppliers you probably want to go to. I can find them on eBay America, but the sellers typically won't ship them overseas because American eBay sellers just don't do that kind of thing. So I've spoken to my friend in Ohio, the guy who's been to the police station where this car came from, and I'm going to get a set on American eBay, ship them to him, and he'll ship them over to me. So at some point in the near future, I will finally have new ones of these things. It's about $30 for a set of 10. I think I'll try and get away with just doing the screwy clippy thing on this side and get that one refitted as soon as I've welded that. Right, moving on. So this might not look like the most significant moment in this car's history, but this can of green paint is enormously significant right now, because this represents the end of all the structural work on the Crown Vic. After I've finished blatting this sill off, I can put it back on its wheels and just finish this one little patch of front wing fender, whatever you want to call it, and it's done. The welding's finished at last. Over the last couple of days I've been busy with the welder yet again. I've finished the end plate of the previous video's bit of welding, so I've now got a box section end on there, which is good. And then this little area here, which was also missing, I've created from a flat panel down here and a curved panel down here, and made this little box corner, which is a curious little shape. I thought it would take 10 minutes. It was actually quite a slow job in the end, because they always are. Then, having created that, welded it all together, it was all red oxide BDX rust preventing primered inside and out, then regular primered, and then stone chipped, and now finally I'm into the green coat. So a couple of coats of the Aspen green, then some lacquer, and we're done. And that is an amazing feeling, I've got to say. I mean, it's almost pointless doing this particular bit of green paint because it's all going to be hidden by the plastic rocker trim, but it's significant because it marks the end of this work and it shows the car's been done properly. I want it to be, you know, as good as possible inside and out, and basically do correctly what should have been done in America instead of the dreadful, dreadful lash up of a bodge which just really ruined the car. Now we're getting it all back together again, which I'm so happy about. Okay, so going back through my MOT fail sheet from last year, and after they found the big rust, they did go and do a properly thorough test on it. The headlamp alignment was skew-if, as far as their alignment machine said. However, since then the front end's been apart and gone back together again, so I have no idea where the headlights are pointing now, so I probably have to just take a chance on it being wrong. I will get some beam deflectors to try and point it the right way as well, because these are what they call flat plane headlamps. There is no lens on these things, they just point straight forwards and hope for the best. That's the headlights. Moving back up here, I hadn't realised that this time last year that the wiper blades were starting to peel. Since then, they have completely gone. In fact, I can't even find the wiper blade off this side. So I've got a new set of wiper blades in the car. I'll switch them over in a second. I need to actually finish putting this trim back together from when I took the bonnet and the wing off on this side. Also, while I'm at the front of the car, I've got a new license plate holder, because this one is it's not the best, is it? It's broken at the top, it's cracked, and the license plate can literally just fall out. I have a new one in the boot. Unfortunately, I cannot see how you take this off. You have to go behind the bumper trim somehow. So I'll try and figure that one out as well. The screws actually screw in from the back. You can see how they do screw in from the other end, which is going to be interesting. So having done a little bit of delving, it would appear this is really unhelpfully screwed through the back of the actual bumper cover itself, not to the metal crash bar beneath. And the only way to get that off is to take the entire bumper back off again. Well, not back off, I started taking it off, didn't complete it. Looking inside it, underneath this crash bar just here, there is another metal structure, and there is no hole in the back of it in order to get any access to those screws. I think the only way to do that is going to get a grinder and cut the thing off, which I really don't want to get involved in right now. So basically, this was baffling me far more than something as simple as a number plate plinth really should. I could just leave it, but it's really untidy. It's broken up here, it's missing the top piece, and the whole thing's a bit flappily-doppily. Doesn't look great. But these bolts are just utterly baffling me, because I went behind the bumper and there's no access to the back of the bumper cover because the crash bar is immediately behind it. I put a post on the Crown Vic owners group and someone said, it's just really easy, what's the problem? You just undo the bolt. It turns out what's happened is someone has put security bolts on here with an unturnable front. So I guess a non-condicker cop car number plate or something, or someone just had a really cruel sense of humour. So all I'm left being able to do, as I've experimented with here, is to cut the bolt off the front and just basically mangle this thing, carefully mangle as carefully as I possibly can, the front of this thing. I thought maybe I could cut a slot into it and undo it and sort of save the bolt and reuse it, but as soon as I started trying to do that, the aluminium just turned to mush. Aluminium's soft, don't forget. Also, it was just utterly bonded on there by the Ohio winters, so it was staying put. So destruction time, and then figure out how to do the next bit later on. That was way harder than it needed to be. Right, so now we can do the quick and easy way of doing this, which is not what you're meant to do, actually is pop rivets and just pop the thing back on. It is a little bit scuffed and scratched, but then it has driven into cars a few times in America. So you've got these little latches that go under the bumper cover, clip it on there, line it up with the holes, rub it's your father's brother, job done. Nope. I need longer pop rivets. It's so easy, so near yet so far. Dagnam. Oh look, there's the back of the security bolt thing has fallen out the bumper now. Like a plasterboard plug kind of thing. You screw into it and the whole thing compresses up and becomes impossible to take out. I've been to the shops, I've got some bigger pop rivets. Let's try to give them maybe the correct size fastenings. Come on. Oh please, come on. Well, it's nothing ever easy. Right, after a lot of umming and ahhing and hunting around, what I found is that even these aren't big enough. What is big enough though are these bolts, which are from a brake caliper, I think from a Mini. Because someone's drilled 8 or 9mm holes into the bumper in the location where it lines up with the recess in the caliper in the carrier. And you can't get a washer in the back of that because it's flush against the crash bar. So now I'm using a blooming great bolt with a 13mm head to wind that into the bumper. I was thinking, how on earth has the simplest little task of replacing 2 bolts become the trickiest thing on the car? In the continuing theme of this being the easiest job in the world but taking absolutely ever, when I went to go and finally put the number plate in here, it was kind of bulbous out, so the number plate wouldn't sit flat against it. I had to go with the heat gun and yeah, the D20 thing, heat the thing up until it was kind of soft, push it in the middle, hold it with my mug and the heat gun until it was cold again and reset it in the right place. And hopefully this will now stay put and I won't lose my number plate. Also, by the way, I used some of that stick-saw stuff I fixed the MX-5 hood with on the end of the bolts so that they're kind of glued in place as well. So fingers crossed, we're as tight as we can be here. So I've moved on to doing the trim under the windscreen, the scuttle trim. Hoping these are the right screws because it's a year since I took them out. But they seem to be about right number and the right size. So I broke out the ceramic snow foam and the Max Foam shampoo last night, gave the car a bit of a clean up. It looks so much better. It looked a bit decrepit out here, covered in dust before. I did ceramic coat it when I first got it 2 years ago, but the environmental fallout around here is pretty intense. So even with the ceramics coating, the bonnet and the boot and the roof do have a little bit of a, I don't know, just something embedded, but that will clean up a bit more easily. I'll give it a light clay bar in the next couple of days. Here you go, new wipers. Those really had deteriorated quite a lot really, hadn't they? While it's all going back together, I'm giving all the plastic under here a quick tidy up with some replenish just to make the plastic and rubber look a little bit nicer before the rubber goes on there as well. A nice bit of trim. Make it look complete again. I have to go and give this an under bonnet detail too, won't I? Now cars do not like sitting around and this is no exception. It's been on the drive a year, not really going anywhere. The battery is a little bit tired now. It wasn't the best having sat on the ship for so long as well. But what I've noticed is that weirdly, every time I turn it on now, the headlights are on with the ignition. But if I turn the lights on and off again, they go out. Except that they haven't today. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. The interior light button doesn't work anymore. There we go, it is working now. I can hear the relay clicking. I wonder if something's got a little bit damp or it's a low voltage thing. Also, we've got a little bit of a misfire I'm noticing as well. I don't know if this is because there's old, dreggy fuel in the tank. I've put a gallon of fresh petrol in the other day. I didn't put V-Power in because this thing will run on pretty much pond water. They're designed to be the lowest common denominator fuels. But I can feel it's just not running exactly right. So I think I might pop out all the spark plugs. I know you've got to be careful with these engines. Give them a clean up and put some V-Power in there. Hopefully that will clean things up. Also, the front passenger window. It's come back. Front passenger window is working again. Both the passenger side windows weren't working and now they are again, so that's a huge relief. I thought I was going to put a new regulator in it or something. So gradually the car is coming back to life. Everything else does appear to work. The lights all do seem to work apart from the fact that this one comes on its own randomly. I'm wondering if maybe it's just a low voltage thing because it's been sat for so long. Shush! Why do American cars bing so much? I do wonder if it's like a low voltage thing. I did have the thing running for about sort of half an hour yesterday when I was just doing the whole snow foam and wash business. But it's still a bit slow and a bit clunky, so I'll put the thing back on charge again tonight and hopefully that will resurrect the battery a little bit more. Right, so now this is what I hope is going to be the last bit of cardboard aided design, the last bit of welding and fabrication on this car because I'm frankly fed up of it. So let's try and work out the line of this thing. So my trick here is going to be to cut this as precisely as possible. Yep, that's pretty good. We'll need a little filler skimmer and I need an extra millimetre or 3 on the end as well, but other than that we're pretty much good to go. So now I'm back to work with my old friend the joddler, try and make that little kind of rebatey bit so that the plastic of the that's called the rocker cover. Let's try and line this up on the line in the back. Will sit behind it when it goes back on the car. Now you may remember I spent many a happy hour doing the entire length of the passenger side sill with this thing a few months ago. So happy to be reacquainted with it. Now you may be wondering why I've made my life a little bit easier by putting the wheels back on the car and dropping it off the jack. And the thing is though, because this is a body on frame car, there's a little bit of sag in the car's body when it's raised up in the air and resting on the middle bit. And that does actually close up this gap between the door and the wing. Not ideal, so you need the car back on its wheels in order to get the gap right. There we go, our last little bit of metal work on the Crown Vic ready to go in, pretty much. It has moved ever so slightly forward. It's done, it's actually finished. The car is fundamentally complete at this point. The welded part is now well welded on there. I've tidied it up with a grind and a skim of filler, and the thing that I always do every single time I filler is of course to not be completely happy and keep on working it far too long until I make a mess of the filler. So I'll let that set, then I'll sand it some more, and then I can smooth it and paint it. And basically at this point I could drive this down the MOT station and get a ticket on the car. I could be having an MOT tomorrow if they've got a gap. I might actually try and find out. It's taken a year, but it's done, and I am oh so very, very happy indeed. Fundamentally, this thing is good to go. Why does the phone always ring when I'm talking to the camera? So there we go, the Crown Victoria is basically done. All I've got left to do at this point to make it perfect is wait for those plastic clips to arrive from America, which could take a few weeks, let's be honest. So I'll have to live with a slightly incomplete looking rocker panel for a little time. Sort out the little rust spot on that wing there, likewise on the driver's side, passenger side, but I'm going to take them to a paint shop I think and get them to sort that out and make it look absolutely perfect. We're basically there, we're done. The car is good to go. So I just basically cannot wait to get out and drive this thing again, because it's been so long sitting here temptingly taunting me. And this is one of my favourite cars of all. It's ridiculous, it's wallowy, it's huge. It's got the worst automatic gearbox you've ever driven, but it's just so silly and so fun, and I love it. And I cannot wait to be on the road in this thing again very, very soon indeed. I'm going to ring the MOT people tomorrow, see if we can get an appointment. Fingers crossed we can drive it soon. Anyway, thank you for watching, thank you for sticking with this series. It's back on the road again at last, probably. So again, thank you. Like and subscribe. Head to the merch store, freeaustralian.co.uk, and the Amazon affiliate link, which is always very handy if you do that. And join me again next time when maybe I won't be working on this for a while, which would be nice.